Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Vinod Nair, and welcome to the Accelerate workshop tracks on the top 5 most innovative practices in diversity hiring. This session will be held between 1:30 to 4 p.m. And I also request all the attendees to kindly post their questions on the Q&A sessions so that I can relay the same to all the speakers. All right. So our next speaker for the day is Mr. Prabjeet Dadiala, Managing Director, Strategy for Accenture. Prabjeet, the stage is all yours.
Hi, thank you all. Let me actually, get into this topic and give you a brief. So what I intend to do is I intend to divide this entire presentation into two parts, and I'm trying to, or rather, before that, let me introduce you and speak a little bit about who I am. So I am a Managing Director for Strategy and Consulting in Accenture India. I look at mainly the automotive, industrial equipment, and travel space. I also work in other B2C industries. I do a lot of work across what is old economy and what is new economy, and have worked in a few other companies as well, which are a mix of consulting and industry. And with that background, when I look at a topic like this one and try to bring together whatever I've seen and learned in consulting and across the industry, I hope to sort of bring that over to you and then probably have a discussion. So I want to sort of divide this into two parts. One is how we in Accenture in India are enabling this change around inclusion. So, and as one of my colleagues likes to put it, so inclusion essentially is, the way we look at it, is removal of barriers to equality. And so how do we look at it? What are we doing? How are we enabling that change is part one of what I want to cover. And then coming on more specifically into this area of diversity hiring, what is it that we do? And what are some of the things that we found great success in? And happy to take questions at the end of it. So, if I quickly move forward, I think one of the biggest, kind of announcements, or one of the biggest measures of how seriously we take our commitment to equality and to inclusion is the fact that, for us at least, we're proud to say it starts at the top. So whether you take a look at our board of directors, which is our global board of directors, it has our CEO, our CFO, and our CHRO, all of whom are women and very, very capable leaders. And overall, if you look at our board of directors, the female representation, as you can see up there, is pretty high. You can see some of the other information on the slide there. But if you look at the way that Julie Sweet tries to take this and drive this down and convince us and work with us, if you see that she has and how passionately she talks about bringing equality into the way that we work, I think that's really commendable. And I'll speak a little bit about it. Visibility, even at an India level, starts with Rekha Menon, who's our chairman, and she's a senior managing director with us. And she's very passionate about this and a true leader in her own right. And she kind of embodies this topic for us, if I may say so, from an India perspective. Again, one of the other senior leaders in our practice, who is a MD with us, is Selija, and based out of Bangalore, and she is our inclusion and diversity sponsor. So whilst many companies want to talk about inclusion, want to talk about equality, one of the things that we're very happy about and one of the things that we feel proud about is that we are able to make it visible, and we are able to actually embody the fact that for us, it starts at the top, and it does make a difference. Moving forward, if I move into a little bit of detail, if you look at the slide, broadly, I think what we're saying is that our ambition, our talent ambition, really is to accelerate equality for all. And a part of this is inclusion, which means removing barriers for everybody. And women, face some of these barriers, which may be conscious or unconscious, and that's the more worrying part. And removing all of those barriers is essentially, a central part of our talent ambition. But this is within the overall subset of equality for all. And the idea is to give a sense of people that Accenture is a place that they belong in. Now, a quick tidbit. If you look at our talent ambition from 2020, it talks about attracting the best people. And if you look at how we've sort of framed it again in 2025, I think we're very, very proud to become a little more humble in our ambition. We say that we want to be worthy of the best people here. I think little play of words there, but the fact is that in terms of mindset, it very clearly puts the onus and responsibility on us to be able to attract the best people, to be equal in our attracting the best people, and to make sure that inclusion is a large part of it. Now, one of the big things that really sets us apart is our size. We are able to, even from an India perspective, 200,000 people is a huge number. And it's because of that we are able to work in multiple industries and so on and so forth. But in terms of our talent ambition and in terms of our wanting to become more inclusive, it's also a challenge. And the idea is, how do you take this intention and this firm conviction and translate it at a scale that is so vast? And that's the kind of challenge that all of us face on a daily basis. However, we have a holistic kind of a framework, which really consists of these pillars of external connections, our people, the enablers, and so on and so forth, which enable us to make sure that we are able to take our intent and to drive it into the way that we work at a scale that I just spoke to you about. So we have an ecosystem of external partners who we work with, and this is when it comes to hiring. But there are also multiple internal stakeholders. So as Accenture, we operate across multiple service lines: consulting, technology, outsourcing, digital analytics. These are multiple service lines, and each of these service lines have their own business leadership. So the intention is for the business leadership to take a leading role to drive our intent and talent ambition down into their, let's call it, practices. And that's the kind of ownership that we want to make sure that our senior leaders sort of embody and drive. So the board leadership part of it that you see on this framework here is one of the most important parts. So a large part of our effort indeed is spent in making sure that our leaders are very clear about our talent ambition and our intention. And therefore, and they're all smart people. And therefore, when they take that and drive that down in their organizations at scale, the intent is carried through in its letter and its spirit throughout the entire organization. And that's an important area where we spend a huge deal of time. Then if you look at it, from the kind of actions that we take, and I want to spend a little bit about the kind of external sort of partnerships that we are in. So we work with a lot of industry bodies, whether it is NASSCOM or CII, etc. For example, this entire India Business Diversity Network, we are one of the founding members of that in CII. We work with external partners, therefore, who also make sure that the best of what we do is also available to the others to take forward. And in all humility, what we see around us as working and as a best practice in other places, we are happy to sort of get that diffused back into Accenture as well. Now, while all this is noble in intent, when we want to drive this down and we want to make sure that the implementation, in terms of true professional services people, eventually it comes down to making sure that we are able to metricize in the form of very clearly quantifiable numbers each of these actions that individual leaders have to take. Thereby, we are able to use these metrics to identify areas where something may not be happening as per intent, or even measuring in terms of benchmarking or measuring what should happen, and then going on and focusing on those areas to make sure that we fix those areas. So I think one of the things in which we like to drive it is in the form of quantifiable metrics and using the kind of data that these metrics generate at scale to be able to run analytics on it and thereby focus on specific areas which need attention and drive change and improvement. So throughout this slide, I really wanted to tell you that we are able to use our inclusion and diversity framework, which looks a little qualitative here, but we are able to take it down, quantify it, and use it to drive measurable change in this area throughout our organization. Yeah. So with that, actually, let me move on and come to maybe the last slide I have in this section, which is our IND program. While you saw the framework on the previous slide, really consists of these 8 or so pillars. And actually it's self-explanatory. So whether we talk about the entire pride aspect of it, to make sure that people can be authentic at work, regardless of everything, is something that we take very strongly. There is a mental health and wellness aspect to it as well. In fact, this is something that has really sort of gathered focus in people's minds and attention in people's mind over the past year, when the entire focus on this area really shot up. And we were able to actually work with a lot of our employees to make sure that they were not falling into the mental, let's say, the illness kind of a trap. So the entire focus on wellness and mental health, again, making sure that more and more of our programs, as they continue to be in cross-cultural, cross-country environments, we are able to support our people to make sure that diversity and inclusion is something that we can take up even in that cross-cultural context. Again, if you look at all the others, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But I would like to actually bring on and come to the topic of gender, which is really one of the pillars of our IND, let's say, strategy, which is that we have set ourselves a goal to achieve 50% women and 50% men in our workforce. And that is something that has been publicly announced. And we have also sort of metricized it into intermediate goals. And we've taken it across all levels. So even at senior levels of our company, 25% women managing directors in the company by the end of 2020. And other such intermediate metrics are something that we take very strongly. So I want to sort of just pause here. I'd said that the initial part of my piece would be around how we are going around and how we think of inclusion, diversity and equality at Accenture, and what are a few of the things that we're doing. So let me just pause here with that. Happy to take any questions once I just cover my next section. But now I want to come on to this entire topic of diversity hiring, which is really the focus of today. Now, if you look at, what do we do in diversity hiring? There are some things we feel that we've gotten right. Of course, we are humble enough to acknowledge that there is a lot that we have to learn. And there are a lot of best practices and a lot of things that others are doing, which we have to imbibe into Accenture. But if I were to pick up 8 or so practices, or best practices or practices that we in Accenture use as part of our hiring, I think I would like to spend some time going over a few of these. Now, it's pretty obvious the way that it's written down, but so let's look at, for example, innovative sourcing of diverse candidate slates and focused on sourcing women candidates and profiles who we evaluate for our roles in Accenture. Again, this is an area where we work with external partners for sourcing CVs and making sure that as part of matrices that individuals carry at different levels of the organization, considering or not considering women candidates doesn't come in as form of an unconscious bias, or doesn't come in the form of some unstated assumption somewhere. So we make sure that there is no miss out on that part. And I think that's important because that's from where the entire hiring funnel really starts. I'd like to speak a little bit about the analytics-driven recruitment pipeline. You see, being professional services people, we firmly believe that whatever gets measured can be focused upon and hence can be improved. So, what we've done is we've tried to bring the power of quantitative analytics into the way that we work. So what do we use this for? So the entire hiring pipeline process obviously can be measured or can be looked at in form of specific ratios in terms of, let's say, how many came into a certain stage and how many went forward from that stage. If there are dropouts at a certain stage, what was the reason for dropouts and so on. Well, we also have, apart from the other filters, we also have a gender filter in there. We also have an experience and age filter in there and so on and so forth. So what that allows us to do is that the same kind of analytics and the power of analytics that we bring to our clients, we are able to apply it to our entire end-to-end process. And we are able to use AI-based algorithms to zero in on something that may look like a blip or something that may go unnoticed, or to pick up 3 or 4 pieces of data and point to a trend. And what we are looking for is, are there unconscious biases coming in somewhere in terms of, we see that specific statistically significant ratios are showing that a certain gender is getting preferred over another. If that is so, there may be multiple reasons for that happening. But are those the right reasons? Should those reasons even exist in the first place, and so on and so forth? One of the valid reasons that could exist is that not too many candidates may be interested of a certain gender, may not be interested in taking that specific opportunity forward. That could be a reason. But on the other hand, there could be an unconscious assumption on the part of the recruiter, which results in this happening. We are very keen to bring the power of AI and analytics to identify all of these areas. Similarly, once you put in AI, it gets better and better and may even help in decision support. So this is one area which I feel pretty happy about because it is something that we use with our clients and we are able to bring it back into the way that we work and we operate. I think recruiter sensitization and awareness. So 100% of all our recruiters are coached and trained and sensitized in terms of some of the unconscious biases or some of the traps that they may be falling into. So, and we make sure that when we do that, we bring forward specific examples from their areas of work to bring it alive for those individuals. Our intent is that these recruiters who help us bring people into the organization play an important role. And we want to make sure that we are bias-free or we are obstacle-free, at least in that stepping stone as far as recruitment and hiring is concerned. Again, some of the other things are fairly obvious in terms of alumni hiring and so on and so forth. Career Reboot program, again, is a program in which we are happy to coach women who have spent a certain amount of time away from their jobs for reasons which may be personal. And if they're looking for a way back into professional life, then we in Accenture have a kind of a coaching program of about 6 months or thereabouts, in which we are able to help them upgrade their skill set and channelize their newly acquired skill set into relevant parts of Accenture. Again, as with many other firms, we also will have an Accenture Women in Leadership, a network of those women. And I think I was speaking to a couple of colleagues who are a part of this network. And what I understood is that a lot of essentially tips or a lot of sharing of how individual leaders handle their own pressures or their own moments of truth. All of those things get discussed. And I think it is something that comes across as very useful to many of our colleagues. I think apart from that, the employee referral program or the special campus engagement programs for women, these are fairly well understood and known across the industry. So I won't drain that. But I guess if I were to look at 8 practices, I think these are the ones that I would like to bring forward and present to this group.
I completely agree. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhjit, for your time and for the insights you've given about Accenture and the kind of policies you've ensured for diversity hiring. And we look forward to meet you again.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.